A thread by Carlos Osuida. Unknown performance artists make an absolutely genius statement on the suicidal stupidity of Antifa and BLM rioting. No idea who sent this to me. Enjoy this spot-on social commentary. President Trump and all sane Americans. Naturally, it's, of course, the Antifa dude who set his shoes on fire, set to various wonderful soundtracks. I actually found a version with the Scatman song, and I shared it on my Twitter. Carlos continues, someone told me that the current violence is not unprecedented since we had it in the 1970s and 1980s. This is where you really have to use your ability to engage in critical thinking. Let me show you the ways in which this violence has no antecedent anywhere in the world. The violence, and now death squads, is confined to the cities where people once supported the movement. Virtually all of the victims were people who once supported the movement. The establishment, politicians, and press supporting the violence are enabling it, despite the fact that it's turning the entire country, especially former supporters, against the government. The rioting is pure, mindless destruction based on the fantasy that the police hunt black men, when in fact the country's police make 10 million arrests per year and only a tiny handful go south. And the rioting is targeting only the people whose votes the movement needs. The violence of the 1970s and 1980s was carried out by extremely small numbers of people, and it was rational. The goal was to draw attention to perceived injustices. By the late 1970s, Americans didn't even pay attention to it. Today's violence is being aided by politicians, law enforcement, and a judiciary that is simultaneously preventing law-abiding citizens from working, traveling, and even speaking. The violence of the 1970s and 1980s was rational terrorism. I'll list the usual goals of rational terrorism, and I'll add my own. Produce widespread fear, obtain worldwide, national, or local recognition for their cause by attracting the attention of the media, harass, weaken, or embarrass government security forces so that the government overreacts and appears repressive, steal or extort money and equipment, especially weapons and ammunition vital to the operation of their group, destroy facilities or disrupt lines of communication in order to create doubt that the government could provide for and protect its citizens, discourage foreign investments, tourism, or assistance programs that can affect the target country's economy and support of the government in power, influence government decisions, legislation, or other critical decision, free prisoners, satisfy vengeance, turn the tide in a guerrilla war by forcing government security forces to concentrate their efforts in urban areas. This allows the terrorist group to establish itself among the local populace in rural areas, to which I would add, create an empire, force the population to submit out of fear, force an ideology on an entire region or country, ignite a sectarian war. You see all the problems? When you confine yourselves to your own cities and attack the very people you need, it's suicidal. And now, death squads. This is Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler's horrific challenger, Sarah Iannarone, that's how I'm going to pronounce it, who says, I am Antifa. She also says the cops are fascist. 10 million arrests per year, only a few of which don't pass muster. Antifa is 100% violent and now has trained death squads. If you don't live in an Antifa city, stay away. If you live there and if the cops refuse to help you, I'm deeply sorry. You must tell the president what happened in detail. He needs this tally. And now it's time to reveal something. Remember the homeless people who ambushed me in my own backyard? I did a video on this one as well, of course, reading The Battle of Carlos Osuida was the title, if you want to go back and look at it. It's called the Battle of Carlos Osuita on Twitter. It's called the Battle of Carlos Osuita in a video. I couldn't figure out how they did it. Did you see how fast I confirmed the Antifa sectarian death squad murder of Aaron J. Danielson in Portland? Did you see that I provided evidence that can't be disputed? I did that for 2 foreign countries for several years. The second country offered to help me when I needed. This time, they contacted me. I have no idea who the individuals are. We use a foolproof communication system that any expert in a certain field would immediately know. But my friends put a twist on it that makes both of us invisible. They sent me a message telling me that they would install a surveillance system in my house. I agreed. So they instructed me to leave the house and give them 2 hours. They told me to lock the doors because it didn't matter to them. When I came home, there was a typewritten explanation on paper left on my desk, not done with a printer. Some of you know why. The system is about 1 billion times more effective than the commercial version I had, and it's got a real-time feed to their country. It can't be disrupted, hacked, or jammed in any way. It operates in power outages. It uses artificial intelligence and logarithms to determine who's a threat. It also uses multiple recognition programs. Doesn't matter how you dress or move, you'll be identified. My friends know that I don't need physical protection. If someone wants to send me to the next world, have at it. Here's my attitude. Indiana Jones. Because that will happen. But before we talk to God together, you'll talk to my friends. They've been dealing with people like you for 40 years. You have no idea who you're up against. I'll be waiting. Let me end with my original point. This is the stupidest, most suicidal terrorism ever carried out. If you read my stuff, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of Dr. Karlin Borisenko. She's not a miserable, pud-knocking poser. She's a self-made professional who knows her field. Until very recently, she was very leftist. Let her describe leftist terrorism in her own words. Links in all the descriptions. You simply must watch the videos of Dr. Karlin in Dallas, basically just being terrorized for absolutely no reason in Dallas, which is in a red state. The difference between the leftist terrorism of the 1970s and the anti-government terrorism of the 1980s is that it was rational despite being futile. The current BLM and Antifa terrorism is this. All right, let's look at this. It's probably going to be really funny. Kid attack his own legs. Okay, you get the idea. There is no antecedent in human history. Vote early and in person. Vote straight GOP. They're giving us what we want. We need loyal but rational opposition. If the Democrats ever become rational, vote for them. For now, the country needs Trump and the GOP.